His thumb keeps rubbing the purple wrist stamp. Everyone else looks settled. Staying already feels expensive. Why does leaving feel so difficult? Inside his closed hand, a coat check ticket folds softer with every squeeze. The exit is available. He has been carrying permission to use it. Still, his shoulders stay lifted. The body can reach its limit before the mind approves it. But here is the strange part. Nothing bad has happened. No one has been unkind. Yet one foot keeps pointing toward the floor runner leading out, while his face stays turned toward the room. The body starts leaving before the story does. Someone places a fresh drink near his elbow. He thanks them and keeps talking. The glass remains full while his fingers hold the ledge. Participation is still visible, but it has become a performance his body is paying for. Minutes pass, and the conversation moves on without noticing how little he says. His replies become shorter, though his smile stays the same. His fingers press harder into the edge of the ledge. He does not want another story. He wants the small freedom of not having to look engaged. The rear row seat never opens fully beneath him. He keeps it slightly raised, knees angled toward the aisle. This is waiting for permission. Part of him stays ready to move, because sitting down completely would feel like promising more time. The event program is open near its final page, though the room is nowhere near finished. He checks the order without reading it. The question is not what comes next. The question is how late leaving becomes acceptable. Then another round begins, and everyone leans forward. He stands halfway near the aisle. For 1 second, he could still lower himself and disappear into the row. Instead, he lets the path stay open and follows the direction his body chose earlier. The washroom door closes behind him. Under the plain mirror light, his maintained smile disappears before he can decide to drop it. His jaw loosens. His shoulders fall. For several seconds, he simply watches the unheld expression return. Relief has already started, even though he has not left the building. And this is where it changes. He expected relief to arrive after an explanation, perhaps after enough tiredness to make departure obvious. Instead, it arrives in private, the instant no one needs his face to say that he is still enjoying himself. His body does not wait for a vote from the room. He waits another moment, but does not rebuild the smile. That tiny omission matters. Nothing outside has improved. The event is still warm, friendly, and active. Only the demand to stay readable has paused. Why does that feel so large? Beyond the washroom, a back corridor narrows into cooler light. Applause presses faintly through the closed wall, then fades. The event continues at full speed without seeing him. Its energy does not collapse just because one person has stepped away. The corridor is empty enough to show every step. He slows without planning to. No one is waiting for an answer here. No one is measuring his expression. The quiet is not a reward. It is information his body receives immediately. Behind him, the closed wall keeps the bright room contained. Ahead, the corridor opens toward the stairs. He notices a simpler fact. Distance is reducing the strain, one ordinary step at a time. Each doorway behind him removes one more reason to perform. He still has no better reason to offer. The fire door settles shut, cutting the bright corridor into a thin edge of light. His palm stays against the cool metal until the latch holds. The pressure is greater than the door requires. He had been carrying the room inside his body. Halfway down, his thumb finds the wrist stamp again. Earlier, rubbing it helped him stay polite and still. Now the motion stops on its own. The mark remains, but the pressure attached to it has begun to lose authority. But that is not the real reason. He is not relieved because the people were wrong for him. His fingers touch the stair rail, then loosen almost immediately. The input is finally smaller. Less sound, less light, and fewer faces have given his body room to answer. The smaller world asks less of every tightened muscle. At the cloakroom, an empty hanger swings after his coat is lifted away. The small motion continues after the attendant turns aside. Nothing dramatic follows his departure. The building simply keeps working, and the space he occupied closes without protest. He places the creased ticket on the counter and stops pressing it flat. The attendant takes it without asking why he is leaving. No apology is needed. No proof of exhaustion appears. The coat simply comes back across the counter. That ordinary exchange contains the permission he kept trying to earn from the whole room. His hand opens, and the first decision becomes visible. The coat sits half-fastened across his chest. One side is secure while the other hangs open. He does not fix it yet. Leaving has become visible, but his body is still catching up with the choice his feet already made. The side vestibule holds colder light beyond the glass. He pauses between two temperatures, not because he wants to return, but because crossing the last threshold makes the decision feel public. What if someone notices the empty place he left? One hand catches the heavy outer door before it latches. For a moment, he holds the opening and listens to the muffled room behind him. The event is still happening normally. His absence has not become an emergency anyone needs him to repair. The harder part comes later. He steps through and lets the building fall outside the frame. There is no message to send and no explanation to complete. The atmosphere he feared abandoning continues without his help. Outside, the choice no longer needs to look reasonable. Staying was never what held it together. Cold air clouds his glasses on the first step outside. He stops because the view has gone soft, then feels his shoulders lower again. He waits beneath the cooler light until the blur settles. The body is answering faster now. Its relief appeared before any acceptable excuse, and it keeps repeating the same answer. His breath becomes visible beneath the streetlight. He walks more slowly than the people still moving toward the building. For the first time tonight, his pace belongs to him. There is no group rhythm to match and no face to maintain. Several steps later, he opens the coat instead of fastening it. The cold should make him close it, yet the loosened fabric feels easier across his chest. The change is small. The pressure was not only in the room, it had settled into his posture. At the street bench, he sits without checking how long the pause looks. His feet stay planted. His hands rest open between his knees. This is what depletion had been asking for inside, long before his mind agreed that leaving was allowed. Condensation clears from the lenses without him wiping it away. The street returns slowly at its own speed. So does he. No fresh argument arrives, yet the answer feels clearer. Waiting for permission had made his limit seem debatable. The body had already settled the question in the washroom. Warm light from the convenience store entrance reaches the cold edge of his coat. He pauses near it, neither rushing inside nor turning back. The next choice can remain small. After hours of matching a room, even neutral space feels unusually generous. A few people pass through the entrance without looking at him. Their ordinary movement makes the night feel wider. He is no longer the person responsible for keeping a shared moment smooth. He is simply someone between places, deciding nothing for a minute. The pedestrian crossing opens across an empty road. He starts when he is ready, not when another body moves first. His hands stay loose at his sides. No one is offended by the slower step. Nothing valuable is lost because he stopped performing urgency. Halfway across, he realizes the relief is not a verdict on the event. Good people can still cost energy. A warm room can still become too much. That distinction is harder to see while others are smiling. Leaving early can be about capacity, even when there is nothing serious enough to blame. The station vestibule receives him with cooler light and wider space. His coat remains partly open as he walks toward the platform. The event has become too distant to manage. He can no longer read its faces, and that distance feels clean. Near the platform, the softened coat check ticket reaches the recycling slot. He does not smooth it first. He does not keep it as proof that leaving was justified. His fingers release the paper, and the last unused permission finally stops belonging to him. On the quiet platform, his hands remain open. The event is no longer visible, yet it continues behind him. He did not leave because the people were bad. He left because his limit was real. The relief was not rejection. It was the body recognizing a boundary before the mind allowed one. How often does that boundary become visible only after we cross it?